Welcome back and welcome along to one of my preview posts. Didn't get the opportunity last week, was travelling to Madrid and doing again this weekend, but not leaving too early Saturday morning to work on the Real Madrid Villarreal game on Saturday night and Espanyol Betis on Sunday before returning to, importantly, do the podcast on Monday. So what are we making of this season so far? Familiar looking top two, of course. Atletico are improving and getting back to their best. High-flying, high-scoring Atletico Madrid at the moment. 13 goals in their last 3 games. Didn't see that coming, I have to be honest. Villarreal gone under the radar in 3rd position. Could go above Real Madrid this week if they were to get a win at the Bernabeu. And Elche in 4th place. And then a very unfamiliar looking bottom of the table as well. There's no Elche, there's no Levante, there's no Oviedo, the 3 newly promoted teams. What we've got is Girona, Mallorca, Real Sociedad, Celta Vigo and Rayo Vallecano. So I'm finding it a fascinating first 7 rounds of the season so far. Some ups and downs for teams, some teams doing far better than we thought, some teams doing far worse than we thought. So it'd be interesting to see how it pans out. I know it's only week 8 and we're just getting started, but I think 7 or 8 games now it gives you an ideal opportunity to look and see, who's doing well, who's not doing so well, and it's a mixed bag, to be honest. So we're going to start with this Friday's games. It's Osasuna against Getafe. Osasuna got 7 points, all at home, so it's in their favour this one against Getafe. Getafe got 11 points. They're flying high in 8th position. They've had their trials and tribulations this year, but Bordeaux somehow seems to get things done. Don't ask me how. Very small squad, very limited squad. But the guy's an excellent coach, whether you like his style of play, whether you like the way that his teams play, the way they behave. I'm not against it, I have to be honest. I think it takes all sorts to make up a league table, work within your budget, do what you can. And Getafe, he's served them well. So I think this one, because I'm going to go for the home win, Osasuna 2-1, because I think they're particularly strong at home. Alessio Lisci is finding his feet, first full-time job in the top flight. Need to improve their away form, that's for sure. No points, so all 7 points have come at home. So I'm going to go for Osasuna 2-1 victory against Getafe. Saturday we're going to Oviedo against Levante, 2 newly promoted teams. Levante are finding it tougher at the moment, 5 points, 15th position. Oviedo were finding it tougher until an extraordinary win against Valencia on, I nearly said Monday, but it was called off on Monday because of the torrential rain, so it was played on Tuesday. Oviedo were down to 10 men, they were a goal behind, and they come back and won 2-1. Oviedo played 7 and they've won 2 games. I mean, they've got 6 points. They're losing. They've lost the others, but they've got 2 wins, and that's looking at the season as in general. If they can win every 3 or 4 games, it gives them a chance of staying up. Now, do they have a chance of winning this? Yeah, both teams will think they have a chance of winning this game because they both played each other last season, and they're both nearly promoted. I'm going to go for a cock-a-hoop Oviedo to get the win. They've beaten Real Sociedad at home. They won away at Valencia. As I say, in extraordinary circumstances, they didn't deserve to win. Valencia missed chance after chance. Then Juma got a spectacular goal. If you had the chance to see it, look it up. If the game went unnoticed, because it was kind of beyond all the European matches. Wonderful, spectacular bicycle kick volley. They missed the penalty. And Oviedo went down to 10 men. Somehow they got the 3 points with a dramatic winner from Rondon. Fluky goal as well. So just one of those nights, Valencia. Not so sure. It's we're waiting to see. But I'm going to go for a 1-0 home victory for Oviedo. As I say, it's an unfamiliar looking bottom 5. The 3 newly promoted teams are nicking a point and nicking here and there. So I'm going to go for an Oviedo win 1-0 at home against Levante. And that's the first game on Saturday. And then we come to Girona against Valencia. I did the Girona Espanyol game last weekend. It was the only 0-0 draw we've had so far in La Liga. It wasn't good. Espanyol probably find themselves high up the table but don't have the full confidence yet to go away and get victories with ease. But Girona, it's a miserable looking bunch at the moment, and it's another home game for them. That was their first home point of the season, the 0-0 draw. The rest of the home games have been an absolute disaster. So Vladislav Van gives them hope, gives them opportunity, but it's going to be a long season for Girona. Valencia, as I say, they played well the other night and should have won but didn't. But they're finding it tough going as well. So I'm not predicting a lot of goals in this game, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 win because I think Danjuma's got something special about him this season. Interesting player, and been here, there and everywhere and been on loan everywhere. But I think at Valencia he looks at home now, and I think in this type of game where confidence isn't high for both teams, despite the fact he missed a penalty, he scored a brilliant goal. It's not the first good goal he's scored this season. I'm going to go for him to get the winner in a 1-0 win for Valencia away at Girona. So that's those ones. And I'm not predicting a lot of goals so far at the moment. I've gone for the Osasuna 2-1 against Getafe, but a 1-0, another 1-0. What am I going to go for? Athletic against Mallorca. Well, Nico Williams is possibly going to be returning. Since he was injured, he's missed 6 games. They've lost 5 and drawn 1. So goals are hard to come by for Athletic Club. And Sanset is injured as well. I'm surprised he was on the bench against Dortmund, I have to be honest. And I did think, why on earth has Valverde done that? It appears he was injured. But he was on the bench, so it must have been an injury picked up late. He was named on the bench as the substitute, so they couldn't use him. He's now missing 2 to 3 weeks, which is a real blow for him and all of us, because we like watching Sanset play. He's a fabulous player. When you haven't got Sanset, you haven't got Nico Williams, you've got a problem for Athletic Club. So I think if Nico Williams is back, whether he starts or not, that remains to be seen. But I'm going to go for them with a 1-0 victory at home to Mallorca. Mallorca are not doing particularly well this season. They've had some issues regarding a tough fixture list. They've played some top teams. They got their first 1-0. We got their first win of the week last week against Alaves 1-0. But I'm going to go for just Athletic to squeeze home here with the 1-0 victory. And then it takes us into the late game Saturday evening. Real Madrid against Villarreal. Second against third. Real Madrid, excellent win in the Champions League at Carrat. It's, not the sternest opposition, but a tough fixture in terms of an 8-hour flight each way. They've got to come back. They're playing a formidable team in Villarreal. As I said, it's just gone under the radar, Villarreal. Their way form over the last season and this season has been good. They will be problematic for Real Madrid. And Xabi Alonso, after the 5-2 defeat against Atletico Madrid, there's some big choices to make. My opinion, there's a big choice to make that's coming up. Rodrigo Goes come off the bench against Carrat, played superbly well. Come off the bench for Vinicius, who once again wasn't too pleased about being brought off, but he played 70 minutes. The game was won. And Rodrigo come on and ripped it up, set the place on fire. And I think there's a decision coming up soon for Xabi Alonso to decide that Vinicius' performances haven't been what we expected. We expected better last season. We didn't get it. He's set the standard the season before. Since Benzema left the club, he hasn't been the same. That's one thing that's been overlooked, the partnership between those two. After a rocky start, Benzema wasn't too best pleased with Vinicius, but after a rocky start, they performed magnificently together. The partnership with Mbappe hasn't developed. Vinny hasn't been a disaster. He's not been particularly bad. He's just not living up to those high levels that he set a couple of years ago. And I think Rodrigo has always been one of those that's been, when it was Vinny and Benzema and they were winning the Champions League and flying high in La Liga, they got all the headlines, and Rodrigo I thought was quite underrated, and I can sense his frustration over that period of time. He's made it clear he wants to play on the left, and I genuinely believe now there's a decision got to be made by Xabi Alonso, not permanent, but in the next few weeks he might be thinking, do you know what, Rodrigo might just give us something different on the left. And Vinny isn't maybe nailed down to be a starter for Real Madrid at the moment. So I think competition for places is a must at Real Madrid. You can't rest on your laurels. You have to be at the top of the game. And Rodrigo, I think, in my opinion, deserves a chance. So, has Xabi Alonso got the balls to do it? Yeah, I think he has. I think he's a straightforward manager, and I think he's looking as manager of Real Madrid and thinking if you're in form, you play. If you're not, you don't. Yes, there will be rotations. That's part and parcel of modern day football. But I think in this position, there's a decision to be made. So it'd be interesting to see at the weekend who plays against Villarreal. And Villarreal are just, they're, as I say, a formidable team. They'll be disappointed after going 1-0 up against Juve. They didn't hold on to win. They eventually had to scramble a last-minute equaliser. Their form in La Liga has been excellent. I like some of the new signings are looking good. Solomon didn't play against Juve midweek, but expect him to be back. Pepe has been as good as he always has been since he joined Villarreal. Been a pleasant surprise, to be honest, how good he's been. Rafa Marin, a centre-back, that's a former Real Madrid player. He's going to be playing at the Bernabeu at the weekend. He'll be looking to prove a point. Vega has been excellent, scored a goal against Juve midweek. The one for me that stands out, the new signings, is Georgios Mikatadze, who's a couple of quiet games to start with, but then you're seeing his quality come through, and he's scored against Juve midweek. He's been scoring goals since he joined the club. So he's going to be a threat for Real Madrid. So this is going to be a tight one. It really is. And despite me bigging up Villarreal, it's always hard to go against Real Madrid at home. So I'm going to go for just Real Madrid to shade it 2-1. And guess what I'm going to predict who's going to score? Yep, Mbappe. He's been flying. I mean, he's an extraordinary footballer. All different types of goals. Yes, there's a few penalties amongst them. But you put a ball over the top, no one's catching him, and he finishes pretty much every time. He's got the ability to take people on and score an individual goal and take on defenders and get past them and score those types of goals. And he's there for the tap-ins. It's extraordinary how he's developed into a absolutely brilliant, unplayable at times centre-forward. So as I say, that's the big game on Saturday evening. Sunday we start with Alaves against Elche. Elche, only one of 2 unbeaten teams in La Liga. The other one is Barcelona. So where this has come from, I don't know. At the start of the season, I saw some good signs from Elche. They'd worked hard in the transfer market. Really worked hard. A lot of turnaround in players. I like the style of play that Eddie Sarabia had with his team. A bit of both. They go long. They play out the back. They do the right thing at the right time. I didn't expect them to be unbeaten this far into the season. I didn't expect them to have 13 points at this stage of the season. Yes, I think they're a team that are going to be looking over their shoulder at relegation, as all newly promoted teams are, in any league pretty much. But I think these 13 points they've got so far are a tremendous amount. It gives them a real boost, real confidence. They're playing a team in Alaves away from home who I like this season. I like what Caldet is doing. There's a different style of play. They're good in their home stadium. They lost against Mallorca last week. Elche, will they remain unbeaten going into week 9 and the international break? I'm going to tip a 1-1 draw. I think Elche can do it. I think they can avoid a defeat. I think they get something from this game. Away from home, they've played 3 and had 3 draws, so they're difficult to beat, but they're organised. They're difficult to beat away from home. Alaves, yeah, I think this is going to be a honours even and a point for both teams. Then we go on to Sunday. We start off Sunday with Sevilla against Barcelona. It's an extraordinary stat here. I didn't realise it's 10 years ago that Sevilla beat Barcelona. A 2-1 victory in La Liga. Crondelli and Vicente Iborra were the goals. And you look at the Kevin Gamero was playing up front. It's a long time ago, because you always have this down as a really tough game for Barcelona. Yeah, a lot of the games have been decided by the odd goal. A lot of the games have been heavy victories for Barcelona. But Sevilla this year, Moisés Almeida, possibly coach of the season so far, in my opinion, in La Liga, because he's come into a club that was in disarray. Players leaving after the season had started. They were scrambling around trying to get players in. I took the piss a bit when I saw they signed Alexis Sanchez. How wrong was I? He's been brilliant. Azpilicueta came in, a couple of experienced players to steer the ship. They're really well organised. They've become a really athletic team in the last 2 or 3 seasons. Have they got enough to beat Barcelona? I actually think Sevilla can be better away from home this season. I think, as I said, they're well organised, well drilled. They work hard and they're decent on the counter-attack. So they've got the players to trouble Barcelona, and it will be like an away performance for Sevilla. Barcelona will dominate possession. That's a given. We saw some players come back from injury in the midweek. Lamine Yamal, Alejandro Balde. It was an untidy performance from Barcelona against PSG. PSG deserved the win. First half, Barcelona were good. Second half, PSG just upped the tempo, showed a bit more belief, a little bit more courage. They got a goal just before half time, which levelled it up. And then in the second half, they looked the more likely team to score and to win. little bit perplexed by the fact that Hansi Flick is making so many changes at centre back. I get the rotations in La Liga and against teams you should be beating. And he has made his squad depth stronger this year because certain players are getting playing time that you think in the past I might have thought, I'm not sure he's good enough. Gerard Martin at left back had to play because Baldo was injured. But he's done well. He's been alright. Eric Garcia's started every game this season. In the past, I didn't think he was up to the standard of playing for Barcelona. I've been proved wrong. Glad to be proved wrong. And he's looking decent. He looks a good squad player for Barcelona. But the centre-back pairing, last season they had a back four. And it was permanent. It was Koundé at right back. It was Pau Cubarsí, Nigo Martinez and Balde. And they played the majority of the season, to be honest. They didn't miss many matches. Towards the end of the season, Balde picked up a couple. Jules Koundé picked a couple. But pretty much Cubarsí, Nigo Martinez was the pair. And when you play like Barcelona do, and I'm not going to bang on about this ridiculously high defensive line, that's what they do. It's what's led to success. But there's a load of components that need to be right in order for it to work more often than it doesn't. And it didn't work against PSG. You saw Hansi Flick furious when the goal was conceded in the last minute. And when you looked at that still picture, Koundé was deeper than the two centre-backs. Balde was out of position and Garcia was pointing to him to get to the left-back position. So Balde was across in the centre-half position and there was loads of space down the right flank. And they were trying to step up and it wasn't in line. It was never offside. I think Gonzalo Ramos was the only issue in terms of was he ahead of the ball when the ball was played square to him for the finish. And I think with that understanding that last season where the centre-backs know the full-backs are always going to be ahead of them, one's not going to be drifting behind. Inigo Martinez was probably the leader of that back four. And when you're chopping and changing the centre-backs as much as Flick has done, it's every game. And I don't think we're none the wiser about who is his best two centre-backs. So midweek it was Garcia and Pau Cubarsí. You got Araujo and Christensen on the bench. I don't know who's going to play in this game as centre back. So I get the chopping and changing, the rotation of players against teams in La Liga. But I think at some stage when you play this high risk system that Barcelona play, you need that cohesion, and they're lacking it at the moment. Extraordinary amount of attempts at goal from PSG. And Hansi Flick has said he's learned lessons and his team need to learn lessons from that defeat. Yeah, it's one of 8 games in the group stage, in the table stage of the Champions League, so it shouldn't be too drastic, it shouldn't hurt them too much, but it might just give them a kick up the backside in order to make sure things tighten up at the back. So I'm going to go for, I haven't had too many goals in the other games so far, I'm going to go through a 3-2 away victory for Barcelona. 3 goals is pretty much their average generally. As I say, Lamine Yamal coming back as well, that helps. Will Ferran Torres play up front? Will Lewandowski play up front? Will Rashford get rested? We'll wait and see. So, high scoring game. It's quite comfortable to predict that when Barcelona play. So I'm going to go 3-2 win away for Barcelona. Espanyol Betis, game I'm covering on Sunday, late sort of afternoon, evening time. Espanyol flying high. They just didn't show the confidence in the game against Girona last time out. It was the first 0-0 this season, the only 0-0 so far this season. I got it, unfortunately. And it was that type of game. I think Espanyol, as I say, they can't believe they're doing so well, but they just lack that belief to go and get a victory against to be honest, the woeful Girona at the moment. So it's going to be, I think it's a really entertaining game, this one. It has the look of a good game of football. At home, Espanyol really good, 12 points this season. Were they relegation candidates going into the start of the season? Probably not, but that would be their main concern. Manolo Gonzalez has got them off to a flyer. The win against Atletico Madrid, they're riding high, full of confidence. And so are Betis now. Betis are playing good football. Lo Celso was good against Ludogorets in midweek. They rested a lot of players. A deep squad for Pellegrini. I think there'll be goals in this game, so I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. So again, honestly, I'm sitting on the fence quite a lot in this weekend, but I'm not on purpose. I'm not one that normally does that, but I'm looking at the matchups and there's some quite even affairs. And guess what? My next game is going to be another prediction is a draw. And that's Real Sociedad against Rayo. Real Sociedad were better last time out against Barcelona, that was for sure. They don't create an abundance of chances, so that's a problem. Rayo Thursday night got the win in the European Conference League. Augusto Batalla was the only player, I think, that starts this match that played in that game. So Inigo Perez has a deeper squad than we thought. They got the 2-0 win in that one. They're going away to Real Sociedad, and Rayo are they're struggling a little bit. Not in terms of play. I think their general play has been good, but they've only got picked up 5 points. So they're in amongst that pack at the bottom of surprising teams that are suffering a little bit at the moment. So both these teams are not full of confidence in La Liga. So I'm going to go for the 1-1 draw. As I say, I don't expect many goals in this game again. And then that leaves us, because of the international break, all the games played by Sunday evening. Celta against high-flying Atletico Madrid there. High-scoring Atletico Madrid, I should say. Atleti 13 goals in their last 3 games. 3 against Rayo, 5 against Real Madrid, and 5 midweek against Frankfurt as well. It's interesting they scored after 4 minutes, Raspadori getting his goal. And their confidence has come back quicker than I thought. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that maybe they're out of the title race. If they'd lost to Real Madrid last week, they probably would have been. But in that feral atmosphere in the Metropolitano last week, and the 5 goals that Atleti scored, things have turned around. I sensed it on the back of them beating Rayo in dramatic circumstances. Julian Alvarez with a hat-trick, getting a late winning goal. He's superb, by the way. He was good last year. He's stepping up a notch this year. And Griezmann getting amongst the goals against Frankfurt as well. Griezmann's an important player, and congratulations, 200 goals for Atletico Madrid. He is the highest all-time scorer for the club now, so he's just stretching that record further and further. But he's gone a long time, so 18 games without scoring a goal. So to score against Real Madrid coming off the bench, and to score again the other night, if he's fit, and Soloff is struggling through injury, I believe, that's why he missed the game midweek. If Griezmann is fit and firing on all cylinders, he's another asset to Atletico Madrid. So I tipped them at the start to win the league. I'm seeing those signs. Is the recovery too late? Probably not. I mean, they're still within, not touching distance at the moment, but it's not an impossible chance of clawing back the points against Barcelona and then getting to Real Madrid as well. So I'm going to go for an Atleti win in this one, away from home. Against Celta. Celta had no wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat so far this season. Most of those draws, I think all of them were 1-1. They get a big win against PAOK in the Europa League on Thursday evening. Aspas amongst the goals, Borja Iglesias, 9-9 I believe now, in all competitions. He is that type of striker. Some seasons he won't get 9 goals, and other seasons he just doesn't stop scoring. Thankfully, he's got his move back to Celta Vigo after being on loan there last season from Betis, and he's phenomenal this season. So Celta, they'll be boosted by that win. Now for Atleti, they've beaten Rayo, they've beaten Real Madrid, they've had a great win in the Champions League. Part of me thinks that this could be the weekend where they tail off again, but the bigger part of me thinks that they're banging form now. The new players have been impressive. I think that the team is settling down into the way that they're playing alongside each other. So I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 victory for Atletico over Celta Vigo. So it's, as I say, it's been I didn't expect to see these teams at the bottom of the league. Yes, Barcelona and Real Madrid at the top. Villarreal gone under the radar in third. Elche in fourth. There's a lot of interesting aspects about this season. And I'll be back to hopefully join you later in the week to talk about maybe the international stuff, maybe look at the results from this weekend, and hopefully soon have 1 or 2 interviews that I'm looking to do with some guests of mine around the world of Spanish football, just to add something different during this international break. So don't forget to subscribe. Those that have, thank you very much, and hope you're enjoying the preview, and look forward to catching up with you all soon.